Concerning my identity and divine presence, I belong to God in Jesus Christ. The Lord walks with me. His presence is my strength and my shelter. I belong to God in Jesus Christ. I am never alone, for the God of heaven and earth is my refuge. I belong to God in Jesus Christ. I inherit the promises of the new covenant, for Christ makes me a new creation. I belong to God in Jesus Christ. My heart is renewed, and I walk in the freedom of the Spirit. I belong to God in Jesus Christ. My self-worth is rooted in Christ. I am God's beloved, and my identity is secure. I belong to God in Jesus Christ. My spiritual growth flourishes. I mature in faith, hope, and love. Concerning my mind, peace, and inner strength, I belong to God in Jesus Christ. My fears are turned into faith, for the Almighty is my shield and my helper. I belong to God in Jesus Christ. I am filled with the joy of the Lord, for His love is my strength. I belong to God in Jesus Christ. My daily walk with God is a joy. I trust in His guidance every step of the way. I belong to God in Jesus Christ. My challenges are transformed into victories. I overcome through Christ's power. I belong to God in Jesus Christ. My mental and emotional well-being is guarded by God's peace. My mind is renewed. I belong to God in Jesus Christ. My peace is unshakable. I dwell in the stillness of His presence. I belong to God in Jesus Christ. My contentment is found in Christ. I have everything I need. Concerning my influence and relationships, I belong to God in Jesus Christ. My words are a breath of life, for the Lord speaks through my testimony. I belong to God in Jesus Christ. I am a vessel of blessing, and others see God's goodness through my life. I belong to God in Jesus Christ. My spiritual gifts are activated, and I minister to those in need. I belong to God in Jesus Christ. I am an example of righteousness, and others are drawn to my steadfastness. I belong to God in Jesus Christ. I am a light in the darkness, and my life shines with the glory of God. I belong to God in Jesus Christ. My relationships are built on love, patience, and forgiveness. I am a blessing to others. I belong to God in Jesus Christ. My family is a refuge in God's love. I raise them in faith and godly discipline. I belong to God in Jesus Christ. My justice and righteousness are upheld. I am a pillar of integrity in a fallen world. I belong to God in Jesus Christ. My ministry and service bear fruit. I am a vessel of God's grace. Concerning my guidance, purpose, and provision, I belong to God in Jesus Christ. My path is guided by the light of the world, and I do not stumble in darkness. I belong to God in Jesus Christ. My plans prosper, for the Lord directs my steps. I belong to God in Jesus Christ. My purpose is fulfilled. I walk in the plan God has designed for me. I belong to God in Jesus Christ. I am healed in body, soul, and spirit, for the Lord is my healer. I belong to God in Jesus Christ. I overcome every trial, for God is faithful to restore my strength. I belong to God in Jesus Christ. My health is a testimony of God's healing power. I walk in strength and vitality. I belong to God in Jesus Christ. My finances flow according to God's generosity. I never lack, for His promises are my inheritance. I belong to God in Jesus Christ. My legacy honors God, and my life is a light for future generations.